So I've spent time behind the wheel of both the 2025 Tucson and the Mazda CX-5, and let me tell you, these two couldn't feel more different, even though they're gunning for the same spot in your garage. One's flashy and packed with tech, the other's dialed in and tight on the road, but I am pretty sure that one is better than the other. Hello everyone, this is Scott from CarlandTV. It's time to hop in the front seat because today I'm putting the 2025 Tucson and the 2025 CX-5 through their paces, so you'll know which one actually pulls its weight in the real world, not just looks good parked under showroom lights. Before I start, I would really appreciate it if you would push those buttons below, the subscribe button, the notification bell, all of them. This is not necessary, but those little clicks help a brother out. Plus, it pushes me to give you more valuable car-related content on your screen. Now buckle up and let's get back to the video. Before I get into the nitty-gritty, let me just say that this comparison isn't about throwing specs on a screen and calling it a day. I've driven both the 2025 Hyundai Tucson and the 2025 Mazda CX-5, and the reason I'm putting them head-to-head is simple. These are two of the most cross-shopped compact SUVs out there right now. Folks walk into the dealership asking about one, then end up sitting in the other 5 minutes later. So basically, what I am trying to do here is to let you know how they look, how they feel, how they drive, and which one fits better into your day-to-day driving. Let me tell you straight up, when it comes to looks, these two don't even try to play in the same sandbox. The 2025 Hyundai Tucson is loud and proud with its styling. You get those angular lines, that wide parametric grille that almost looks like it belongs on a concept car, and those unique LED daytime running lights that blend into the grille until they light up. It's futuristic, it's bold, and honestly, it gets a reaction whether you're at a gas station or pulling up to a coffee shop. Hyundai is not going for subtlety here, and they know it. It feels like it's aimed at someone who wants their daily driver to look like it, time-traveled from 2030. If you like people staring, or at least doing a double take, the Tucson's got that road presence locked down. Now swing over to the Mazda CX-5 and it's a whole different vibe. Mazda leans into its Kodo design language, and it's all about flowing curves, restraint, and balance. The 2025 model doesn't change much visually, but that's kind of the point since it already looks good. You get smooth lines, a tighter, athletic profile, and that big, bold grille up front with those squinty LED headlights. It doesn't scream for attention, but it turns heads in a different way. It's the kind of SUV that looks more expensive than it is. You pull up in this thing, and people assume you paid a premium. Now let's step inside because this is where these two really start carving out their personalities. The Tucson cabin hits you right away with that modern, almost spaceship-like vibe. There's a massive 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and another 12.3-inch touchscreen in the center console on higher trims like the Limited. The gear selector is a shift-by-wire setup mounted on the steering column, which frees up console space and gives the dash a super clean look. Hyundai went all in on a tech-forward design, and while some of it feels flashy, most of it works pretty well. The cabin is roomy, especially in the back, and the cargo space is strong. It's about 38.7 cubic feet behind the second row, which puts it at the top, or at least close to the top of the class. Mazda, on the other hand, didn't try to reinvent here, and that's exactly why it works. The CX-5 sticks with a more traditional layout, and I'll be honest, after a long day, those real knobs and buttons just feel better than swiping through menus. The materials are also straight up and feel upscale. Even in mid-level trims, you get soft touch panels, stitched leather, and clean, uncluttered surfaces. The infotainment system uses a 10.25-inch screen controlled by a rotary dial. It's not for everyone, but once you get the hang of it, it's less distracting when you're on the move. Space-wise, it's a little tighter than the Tucson, especially in the rear seats, but nonetheless, it's still solid. Cargo space is about 29.1 cubic feet behind the second row. I've sat in both, driven both, and here is what I can really tell. The 2025 Tucson feels like a tech showcase. It's a car you can show off to friends just to impress them. But the CX-5 doesn't go in that direction, because man, it has got this laid-back refinement that just feels right. Everything's where it should be. It doesn't overwhelm. Instead, it just works. This time, let me talk about how these things drive, because this is where the personalities really come alive. Starting with the Tucson, the base engine is a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder. putting out 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. It's perfectly fine for everyday stuff. Grocery runs, commuting, school drop-offs, all those things. But if you want something with a bit more punch, the hybrid model pairs a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine with an electric motor for a combined 231 horsepower. Either way, the Tucson leans comfort first. The suspension's tuned soft, the steering is light, and it smooths out rough pavement like it's nothing. It's not trying to be sporty, but I am more than certain that this thing is built for cruising. Now, the CX-5 is a whole different game. The standard 2.5-liter engine also makes 187 horsepower, but you can opt for a turbocharged version that cranks out 227 horsepower on regular gas and 256 horsepower if you feed it premium. And you can definitely feel the difference. The CX-5 is easily one of the best-handling compact SUVs out there. Mazda tunes it to feel almost like a sports sedan. It has sharp steering, tight suspension, and actual feedback through the wheel. On twisty roads, it's a blast. But the trade-off here is that it gives you a slightly firmer ride. But yeah, it's never uncomfortable. Heck, it just feels more connected to the road. CarlandDriver.com. I've put both of these through their paces. Tucson's smooth, quiet, and honestly a great daily. But throw the CX-5 into a corner, and it wakes up like it really wants to be pushed. It's like comparing a chill cruiser to something with just a bit of attitude. If you're the kind of driver who likes to feel the road, the Mazda CX-5 is going to surprise you. And yeah, the turbo's worth it. Both offer all-wheel drive. Mazda's iActive system seems quicker to respond and a little more refined in bad weather. It just feels more planted, especially in rain or snow. The Tucson's HTRAC all-wheel drive is solid, especially in hybrid trims, but it doesn't feel quite as dynamic. Bottom line is that if you want a smooth, cushy ride with solid fuel economy, the Tucson's your guy. But if you actually enjoy driving, or you want to look for excuses to take the long way home, the CX-5 will be the perfect ride for you. Of course, there's also the aspect of long-term ownership, because that's what really separates a decent SUV from one you'd actually recommend to your friends. Hyundai's playing a strong hand here. The Tucson comes with one of the best warranties in the business. 10 years or 100,000 miles on the powertrain, plus 5 years or 60,000 miles bumper to bumper. That's a huge peace of mind, especially if you're planning to keep it for a while. Add in complimentary maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles, and Hyundai really makes the ownership part easy to swallow. However, don't get me wrong, Mazda is not lagging, but definitely more conservative. The CX-5 gives you a 5-year or 60,000-mile powertrain warranty and a 3-year or 36,000-mile basic warranty. No free maintenance either, so you'll be covering that yourself. Now, in terms of actual reliability, both brands have earned their stripes. Hyundai's been consistently climbing the ranks over the last decade, and the Tucson has a solid track record. Mazda, on the other hand, has built a rep for durability and low service issues, especially with their 2.5-liter engines. From where I'm standing, it's the Hyundai that gives newer buyers more cushion. But if you're the kind who keeps your ride well-maintained and doesn't need hand-holding, the Mazda's tight engineering will serve you well. Resale values tend to hold slightly stronger on the Mazda side, but with the Tucson's hybrid and PHEV trims gaining traction, it's getting closer. I also need to tell you that the 2025 Tucson lineup stretches wider than most, starting around the $28,000 mark and going all the way up past $40,000 if you spec out a limited hybrid or plug-in hybrid. You've got SE, SEL, XRT, N-Line, Limited, and then separate hybrid versions of those upper trims. Hyundai gives you a lot of room to shop depending on what you care about, whether it's tech, luxury, off-road looks, or efficiency. Mazda keeps things a bit simpler with the CX-5. It starts at just over $29,000, and the trim walk is pretty much cleaner. You've got the 2.5S trims like Select and Preferred. Then jump into the turbo territory with the 2.5 Turbo Premium and Turbo Signature. What's nice is that even the lower trims feel well built. You're not getting some stripped-down plasticky base model. Mazda loads its lineup with quality across the board. In terms of fuel economy, Tucson Hybrid's the winner here. It's offering 37 to 38 miles per gallon combined. The standard Tucson sits in the 26 to 29 miles per gallon range depending on drivetrain. Meanwhile, CX-5's naturally aspirated engine lands around 26 miles per gallon combined, and the turbo dips to about 24 miles per gallon combined. which is decent for the power you get. So if you're after variety, fuel savings, or want to spec a hybrid, Tucson's got the broader toolkit. But if you like a more focused lineup with premium quality, even at the base level, Mazda hits hard. So which one's for you? Look, if you're someone who loves flashy tech, wants space, and appreciates a killer warranty, the Tucson's a tough deal to beat. Especially if you're thinking hybrid or plug-in, you're getting a ton of value with low running costs. But if you're the kind who actually enjoys the drive, wants something that looks and feels premium without shouting about it, and doesn't mind spending a bit more for that refined experience, the CX-5 is the driver's choice. I've sold both to families, single folks, young professionals, you name it. And every time it comes down to priorities. But if I'm picking a clear winner, it's the Mazda CX-5. It drives better, feels more upscale inside, and has a build quality that just holds up year after year. Tucson's solid, don't get me wrong. But Mazda pulled off something rare here. They made a compact SUV that doesn't just check boxes. It actually feels good to own. Test drive both, but now you've got the facts.